Hello and welcome everyone. This is Type V3 with a review of the S.H.Figuarts Son Goku, the face of Dragon Ball Z and one of the most recognizable heroes to date. Seriously, if you don't know who this is, where have you been in the past 20 years? S.H.Figuarts Goku makes a strong first impression as this figure is almost indistinguishable from its anime or manga appearance. The sculpting of the outfit is well defined, the proportions are solid, and the color choices seem correct. Shading throughout the body helps too. The added shadows and highlights on Goku's attire break up the monotony of solid colors, and the added peach on the skin tone outline the edges of the muscles that much more. Of course, the best part is the head sculpt. The face is just on point, and there's nothing I would change about it. In addition to that, the sculpting of the hair is practically perfect. Its biggest success is that it looks right from every angle. All in all, this figure looks like the Goku I remember. That said, it isn't perfect. The largest issue stems from the fact that this toy is actually a reuse of the original Super Saiyan Goku, which was released over 4 years ago. Basically, this Goku brings with it some older design philosophies, and it shows. The shoulders look horrendous and there's no getting around it. It looks like another shirt sleeve, only made out of skin. Then there's the backs of the knees, which look as if someone gouged out some of Goku's legs. Normally, these are aesthetic faults I can overlook, but I find these examples so severe that they're impossible to ignore. Goku stands at about 5.5 inches tall. It's a decent size, though you'll find that he doesn't scale completely well with most figures. It's more or less close enough. For expressions, there's an extra 4 included, which brings the total to 5. There's a grinning face, an extremely happy face, a panicked or surprised look, and finally a combat yelling face. That last one will have a specific use later on. For articulation, Goku's head is on a ball joint right at the base of the neck, and then right here at the collarbone, that whole assembly is on its own separate joint. So together, there's really no looking up, but there's some great looking down. You can bend the neck forward to look even further downwards. He can look side to side. The tilting on the top ball joint is kind of weak, but thankfully, thanks to the neck, you can actually get him to tilt pretty far. For the torso, all you have is a double-ended ball joint here at the waist, and what you can do is you can extend it, and this lets you spin him pretty decently around in every direction, and then when you got the position you like, you just push it down to lock it back in place. Unfortunately, if you use the full extension, you cannot push it down, and that can be a little awkward because it does do some revealing gaps around the belt. Shoulders are where things get kind of weird. First of all, there's a barbell joint, so a ball joint here in the shoulder and then one in the torso, but the minute you move it, already you can see the problem. It's just this weird, disconnected mess, and at the bottom, the sleeve isn't connected, so you have this just really odd-looking assembly. This part of the shoulder, or the attire, is separately on its own ball joint, so you can move that up to sort of fix things up, but then you'll notice that the paint starts to rub right here, and it starts to make the skin tone go green because of the blue. Just a bit of a disappointment. I mean, I guess the range is good, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of the way this operates. There is that ugly bicep swivel with the sort of weird muscle there. Double jointed elbow, good range there, and a ball jointed wrist. The hips are your standard Figuarts hips. They have the pull down ball joint thing going on, and they are on a little thigh swivel in there, but unfortunately, due to the sculpting, it's not very useful. Another strange thing is because of the sculpting, when you kick his leg forward, it tends to spin on its own just to get the leg fully straight. So that means that when you extend his leg forward and bend his knee, it'll never be parallel with his body. It'll always curve inwards, and it's a big problem in crouching poses. Outward range is not too bad. The knee joint, it's a double jointed knee. My issue is the way it looks there. That's just weird. And another issue is because of the way it's sculpted, it tends to scrape along the edges here. And on mine, it's starting to just flake away. The ankles or the feet, there's nothing at the boot. No swivel, no nothing. There's a swivel here at the ankle, and there's an ankle rocker. I wish it was slightly deeper than what you could do, but it's decent. You can pivot it downwards, and of course there is a toe joint. By normal standards, Goku's articulation is great. Yet, when compared to other modern releases in the S.H.Figuarts toy line, Goku starts to disappoint. There's simply too many small limitations or odd design decisions. Multiple pairs of hands dominate the accessory side to this release. Apart from the already attached fists, there's 4 extra pairs. All 4 of these have some significance in displaying a certain action within the universe of Dragon Ball Z. Furthermore, there's one single right hand which lets you display Goku using his instant transmission technique. Finally, there's a Kamehameha effect part. I'm genuinely impressed by the presentation of this accessory. The translucent plastic and symbol paint look nice. Together with the charging hands and the screaming combat face, you can have Goku displayed in what's arguably his most iconic attack. Like many, Dragon Ball Z played a significant role in my younger years, yet unlike my other childhood favorites, it's the one series I grew to detest over time. Despite this, Goku was always a character I loved, and when this figure was announced, I was suddenly met with unanticipated excitement. But now, with figure in hand, I honestly have to admit that it's a disappointment. Ultimately, it's an old toy with a head swap, and there's nothing special about that. In fact, it carries with it older design ideas that were solved by current releases in the S.H.Figuarts toy line. Goku seems like a notable step backwards. Toy design aside, there's still another aspect that could have been improved. The accessories feel half-hearted. I mean, this is normal Goku, the version that's more happy-go-lucky rather than the all-out fighter, and something to signify that would have been nice. Maybe a rice bowl with chopsticks, or even a Dragon Ball. Don't get me wrong, this toy isn't the nightmare that I'm making it out to be, yet it isn't brilliant either. Like the series he stems from, S.H.Figuarts' Son Goku just feels old. But that's all for me. Thanks for watching, and next time Bandai produces a Dragon Ball character, I hope it includes a tail, Nimbus, and a power pole.